Welcome back, Nick Lenz. Comic Corner, Classic slash Non-Classic. This is episode number 1082 and Doubleshot number 976. I got two Batman-related trades. First up, it is the end of this series. End of Ventures of the Super Sun. This is volume 2 of the trade series, collecting the last 6 issues of the series, written by artwork by Carlo Barbera and Scott Gruski. The cover art is done by Dan Moria. Yep, this pretty much wraps up the storyline for the series, where they face like alien duplicates of known, of kid versions of the known supervillains, and Rex, who is the main villain of the series. Yeah, and we also have a guest star appearance by, of all people, Tommy Tomorrow. You're probably thinking, wait, who the heck is Tommy Tomorrow? Okay, who this guy is, he's a guy from the future. He's been around since the 40s, and he's occasionally made an appearance. There were stories referred to as Tommy Tomorrow and the Planeteers, and no, it has nothing to do with Captain Planet. Completely unrelated. Yeah, writes in for the first time in this series. Also, we see a Jonah Hex robot. Yes, as far as I know for Tomasi, I've read a lot of this guy's work. This is the first time I can think of he's ever written Jonah Hex in an actual story. And, well, by the end, they wrap up the series with them going home after being in space for most of the series. And they end their summer of awesome, and they have to go back to school. Okay. But overall, this was a fantastic read. I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. My friend Tim would probably give it 10, but I'm going to give it 9.5. Final thoughts on this series. The series started back in 2017. Yeah, 2017. A little over 2 years the series published. And I happen to have all the trades that collect this series. Here's Volume 1. Volume 2. A crossover. Yeah, a crossover. Yeah, and surprisingly for a crossover, this was dirt cheap. This was $14.99 for a crossover. Damn. Here's the last trade to collect issues from the previous Super Sun series, and here's the one for the collect issues from the first volume. Overall, if you count how many issues the series published, like if you had 12 plus 16, that's roughly 28 issues plus one annual. Yeah, that's how I figure it. Yeah, and Tomasi, the way you read the series, it's like he knows what he's doing when it comes to this particular series. He knows how to write the characters, and it's just pure fun. Sad to see the series go. Oh, in case you're wondering how much the final trade cost, excuse me, $16.99, which is a pretty decent price for a trade like this. Yep. This series overall is really, really good. I own every single trade for the series. I know my friend Tivia, he loves this series. It's one of his personal favorite series he has ever read. But now wrapping up one era, start of another. This actually started the very same year. We have Batman Detective Comics Volume 1 Mythology, collecting issues 994 to 999. Written by Peter J. Tomasi, artwork by Doug Mankey. As far as I can tell, this is the first time these two have worked together since their run on Superman Wonder Woman. And thanks to this particular storyline, we get him writing for the first time that I can think of. We have guest appearances by Etrigan the Demon, Hugo Strange, Mr. Freeze. Trying to think who else. I mean, they basically have a bunch of people pop up in this storyline. Plus, love the opening 2-page spread. And yes, in case you're wondering, Batman is back in his black trunks. Yep. My only guess is because DC was successful with Superman, why not do with Batman? Yep, he's back in the... From what I can tell for this costume, this is basically his pre-Batman Inc. I would say pre-Final Crisis costume. Yeah, this is the costume he wore from, I think it was like 2001 to about 2009. Yeah. And they basically reference several different storylines in this particular series. Yeah, if you read the Batman Robin series by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, they reference that in here. Yeah, where Batman goes to meet up with Henry Ducard, and he mentions what happened in that particular storyline with Damian when his son, aka the Nobody, tried to kill Damian, and Damian killed him in self-defense, which Batman forgave him for because it was self-defense. He had no choice in the matter. And yeah, plus it sets up a potential storyline with the whole creature, whatever this thing is. Now, I initially saw there was a saber when Leslie Thompkins, I think it was Alfred, got stabbed by it. I initially thought, is this the Cavalier? Yeah, this might be the Cavalier. They don't say it's the Cavalier. The Cavalier, in case you don't know, he's a minor Batman villain who made his debut back in the 1940s. He's occasionally made appearances over the years. As a matter of fact, his most high-profile appearance was a Batman 400, released back in 1986. Yep. And I love the fact that we actually have set up for potential future stuff with this particular run. And I think this is actually just pure fun. If you like the pre-Flashpoint Batman stuff, like we had Joe Winnick writing the book, or Paul Dini, or Grant Morrison, you would love this particular run. Because Tomasi, from what I can tell, he loves writing Batman. Yeah, and he's just having a lot of fun writing this. Now, as far as I can tell, this is the first time he's written. Now, when this came out last year, when those issues came out for this thing, this was the first time in 2 years. Actually 3 years that he has written this series, because initially he was the writer of the book toward the end of the New 52 run, and then of course he left, and then James Tynion took over for a long ass period of time, over 30 issues, and they have Brian Hill with his storyline, which simply put served as a backdoor pilot to the Batman Outsiders series, which after several delays, book started this year. We also had a couple storylines by James Robinson. Really good stuff. That was the last thing he came out. And now we have Tomasi. When I initially heard that he was coming in the book, I'm like, yes, Tomasi. Love this guy's work. And this guy did not lose the style what he did with Batman. When he wrote Batman and Robin, when he wrote Detective Comics, he didn't lose anything. Yeah, he wrote Superman for a few years, but here, it's like he never lost a step with this. And this book is so good. I'm going to give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Really fun book. And I highly recommend it. I know some people have been hit or miss on the Tomasi run, the current run for the comics, but I love it. I think it's purely fantastic. That, of course, that's my opinion on the matter. You might feel differently about Tomasi's run of the comics, but that's how I feel. Now, as a bonus before I close this video, I want to talk briefly about Detective Comics 1000, released just last year. This book has got a ton of creators on this book, some of which I'm so happy they actually did this book, like the opening story, Longest Case, done by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, which makes absolutely perfect sense that they would write the opening story. After all, these two wrote Batman for 4 freaking years. Yep. We also have storylines here we have 2 Cameron Smith storylines. One where he teams up with frickin' Jim Lee, which, yeah, that's awesome. In fact, he teams up with Jim Lee. There's another one in here where he teams up with, I kid you not, Neil Adams. We also have Warren Ellis and Becky Cohen. Becky Cohen, in case you don't know, people know her just as the writer for Punisher and the Gotham Academy series, but here's the thing. She was the first female artist who drew Batman. So it makes absolutely perfect sense that she would do this. Warren Ellis is not a few one-shots Batman, but at least he actually has experience writing Batman. Yes. We also have, and I'm so happy when I saw this, Denny O'Neil and on this story here, Return to Crime Alley with Steve Epting basically doing the artwork. Love the fact that Denny O'Neil came back to do this. This is only his second story that he's done in 9 years. Because apparently in 2010 he retired. And last story he did prior to this was a story in DC Holiday Showcase. Yeah, the holiday special that came out a couple years ago. Purely fantastic. The fact that they got a chance to write this particular book again. Yeah, freaking love it. We have Neil Adams basically on the story in here with Christopher frickin' Priest. My only guess is the reason why Christopher Priest wrote this story, because he wrote Deathstroke. Yeah, because that's my only theory. Because He actually because, and this is my personal theory, not because he wrote Deathstroke, not just that, because he wrote that awesome Batman versus Deathstroke storyline. Yeah, that's probably the reason why he was allowed to write a story for this. We also have a story by two people who have never had anything to do with Batman. My only guess is the reason why they actually did this particular this story in here, because they wrote Batman in Action Comics and Superman. Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. Love this guy's artwork. I've met Alex Maleev. Awesome guy to meet. Yep. Storyline called I Know. Yeah, awesome stuff. And I kind of wish that basically Bendis would write a Batman book, and he did. He wrote Batman Universe, really good miniseries. We also have Jeff Johns and Kelly Jones. I love the fact we have Kelly Jones in this particular book because he was one of the most definitive artists of Batman from the 1990s. And Jeff Johns, who has written some really good Batman stories. Yeah. Though he doesn't have Batman have really long ears because Kelly Jones has a fetish for that when he draws Batman. Gives him really long bat ears. Yeah, that's what he does. Mm-hmm. Though I think prior to this, he just did the King of Fear miniseries with Scott Pearson, which was really good. I haven't a chance to review it yet, but it's really, really good. Mm-hmm. Yep. Plus, love the fact that Kelly Jones got a chance to write the Batcave again. Yeah, love it. Mm-hmm. Next story, and this is not a surprise, James Tynion and Alvaro Martinez. Now, James Tynion, perfect sense that he write a story for this particular issue because he co-wrote Batman with Scott Snyder for 4 years, and he was also the first writer of the triple-digit numbering for Detective Comics. When it returns to his numbering for the first time since 2011. Yeah, makes absolutely perfect sense that he would do this. Now, the next writer in here, which I am so happy the fact he got a chance to do this, because at the time this came out, Tom King was the current writer of Batman, so why not? With him and Tony S. Daniel. Yes, Tony S. Daniel wrote a story in here. Yeah, love Tony S. Daniel's artwork. Big Tony S. Daniel fan. And I love the fact he got a chance to draw this. And here's the thing. He's also the current artist of the main Batman book, which I love the fact he stayed with, I think it was James Tynion took over the writing for the Batman book, which I thought was so amazing. The fact he did that. Mm-hmm. Plus, love this 2-page spread. Yeah, that he did. Yeah, this is a fantastic 2-page spread he did for this issue. Mm-hmm. We have artwork by Michael Janin. Makes perfect sense. He did the War Jokes and Riddle storyline. We also have artwork by Jason Fabok and Brad Anderson. Yeah, these Jason Fabok was the artist for John Layman's run for Detective Comics. Awesome. We also have Amanda Connor doing artwork in here. Awesome the fact that you got a chance to draw a page in here. Mm-hmm. The last story in here is done by, if I get to the page here, Pierre J. Tomasi and Doug Mankey, which has the first comic appearance of the Arkham Knight. Yes, and as far as I can tell, no, this guy is not Jason Todd in the Mask. Which, high praise for Tomasi for doing that. Now, I do have some mild criticism about this book. Okay, I'm happy that we had Kevin Smith, we had Kelly Jones, Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil. Fantastic we had these people. But there were several people basically who have written Batman over the years that I kind of felt as though they should have got a chance to write at least a story in here at some point. Maybe it's in the Lex section of the book. I don't know. I haven't read the Lex section of this issue. And these following writers and artists, I kind of felt as though were missing because these guys contribute a whole bunch to the Batman mythos over the years and over the past 80 years. And they didn't do a story in here. People like Chuck Dixon, the guy who created frickin' Bane and one of the most definitive Batman writers in the 1990s. Greg Rucka. Grant Morrison. Let's see, who else? Jim Ballant. I'm surprised he didn't get a chance to do a story in here, much less basically a page. Yeah, I would like to if he did it because he was a Batman artist in the 90s, so why not? I think who else? Doug Moloch. Yeah, he never got a chance to do. I'm surprised Doug Moloch wasn't asked to do this, because after all, he wrote the main Batman book throughout most of the 1990s, while Chuck Dixon did Detective Comics. Though Chuck Dixon pretty much wrote almost every single Batman book of the 90s, except for Azrael and Shadow the Bat, which that particular book's writer was also absent for this particular book, and that was Alan Grant, a guy who created some of the most interesting Batman villains. I mean, he created the Ratcatcher, which is going to be in a Suicide Squad film. Surprised he didn't get a chance to do it. Jerry Conway, the guy who created Killer Croc and Jason Todd, and yet he wasn't asked to come back, which I thought that was weird. And Mike W. Burr, the guy who created The Outsiders, and yet he wasn't asked to come back. I get maybe Jim Aparo, because Jim Aparo's been dead for like 15 years. So him I can accept basically not being there. But all the other people I just named, I kind of felt these guys should have had a chance to at least write a story. In case you're asking, would Larry Hama be a good choice to do this issue? No, he did not have a good run on Batman. Like, oh my gosh, the guy is great when he's writing G.I. Joe, but his Batman run was terrible. Like, I've read it. The artwork was really good. I mean, the only character he introduced during his run was he introduced the character Zaz, not Victor Zaz, another guy called Zaz. He's an assassin, along with Killer Orca. He introduced these two villains, one of whom still occasionally appears. The other one has not appeared in years. Trying to think, who else should have had a chance to write this? Ed Brubaker. Yes, Ed Brubaker should have had a chance to write this thing. But nope, no Ed Brubaker. For some strange reason, I don't know why. Trying to think, who else could have had a chance to do this? Who basically associated with Batman? Let me think. Mary Jo Duffy. I'd like to see her basically a chance, because she did some Batman work. I'd be happy if she got a chance to do it. The co-writer that Scott Snyder worked with on the Gates of Gotham miniseries. Heck, Jock didn't get a chance to do a story in here, which I thought that was weird. Francis Ford Coppola didn't get a chance to do a story in here. Francis Mabu and Bob Bucciotto, who have fantastic stories in the comics, and yet they weren't asked to do a story in here, which I thought that was weird. Curly said Francis Mabu do a story in here. Maybe they're saving for a Batman special? I don't know. Yeah. But that's my only criticism, was that there was a lot of really big names who were associated with Batman who did not get a chance to do this issue. But the issue overall was really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I decided to throw that in there because that was the next thing that came just after this storyline here. Though I think that the Death Comics 1000 issue by the story by Tomasi is probably going to be collecting that particular story. But I wanted to throw that in here because it's Death Comics 1000. Would I not talk about this awesome issue? I mean, yeah. Otherwise, that's really it for this particular review. Excuse me, yeah. Of course, anybody else, how did everybody else feel about this particular one shot, Detective Comics number 1000, a book that's roughly earned for the Detective Comics? Yeah. Let me know your thoughts on this book in the comments below, along with the two trades I just reviewed here, okay? So, that's it for this particular review. I might have one more review to do today, the review of Rama. Otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for today. Otherwise, I'll probably stay for tomorrow, along with a review for 7 Deadly Sins, the new chapter in the manga, okay? But see you next view. Bye.